Welcome. I'm your host, Christina Haskin. I'm delighted tonight. I've always been interested in reflexology and the things associated with it, and I have Irina Breslav here. She's a certified reflexologist, Reiki practitioner, and many other things, and has a great history before that. So, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm glad I took my shoes off because maybe later you'll show me a few things about my feet.
But, with pleasure.
So you were born in Russia. Can you tell us a little bit about your pre-reflexology days and how you came to discover
I was born
reflexology?
in Soviet Union, actually, in 1956 in Moscow. And I immigrated to this country in 1989. After I immigrated in 1989, the Soviet Union fell apart, and that gave me great pleasure to joke with my friend that they couldn't stand to live without me. So they totally fall apart. Now we're talking about Russia and other 15 republics or 60 different countries. So I came here when I was 33 with the little child, the husband, and my mother. And I've been in this country since 1989.
But in Russia, you started out as a mechanical engineer? Or?
Yes, my first education was, I had master's in mechanical engineers. I always had ability good for the science and math and physics, so it was easy for me to go to college and apply myself as an engineer. And I had 5 years of the career as a mechanical engineer. And then I went into totally different field of cinematography and worked for over 10 years as a film editor at the National Institute of Cinematography in Moscow, and was very satisfied with that career. And when we immigrated to America, we came to Connecticut, I had a head full of hopes that with my experience I will continue to be a film editor. So I thought I brought my examples, and I very soon discovered that I need to be a member of the union.
Oh, no.
Otherwise, I won't be able to have a decent job, or if I would have the project, it will be paid below the union negotiated salary,
Right.
which I had. I did work on 3 projects. I was lucky enough to meet the man who graduated from International Cinematography Institute many months ago, came to the America 10 years prior to me, was established film director, and he invited me just out of the compassion, and we did a couple of films. It was very rewarding documentary on 16 millimeters. And then the film went sideways. It was, and it is now all video. You cannot have anything touching your hands. It's all buttons.
Right. Electronic media.
So I needed to switch my profession, which I did, and I work in the management for quite a number of years. But my main career now is I went from applied engineering career to creative part as a film editor, and then to managerial part as a manager at the healthcare company. Gave me a taste of corporate world in America, into my main career in this life as a healing service, so as a healthcare practitioner.
What drew you to that out of all the other things you could do?
It's interesting. While I was doing my corporate work, I was searching to do something on the side as an interest of mine, and was exploring massage therapy. And while I was doing my research, working over 50 hours in the corporate world, I came to experience reflexology on a weekend with my daughter. While she had her massage therapy done, I had the reflexology because it was available. I didn't know much about reflexology, but that one session turned me completely on into that modality, and I researched more. I found the best possible school. It was in New York through International Reflexology Institute, and I started to take the courses on weekends. And that led 2 years later to certification, then a year later to national board certification to be fully established as a professional. And that was 98, and here we are 17 years later.
You were drawn
And I'm a professional reflexologist
in Stanford.
in Stamford, Connecticut. I also have an office in Greenwich.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you were drawn to a particular method with Father Joseph, can you tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, reflexology is a very rich field, and it's still developing, and there are many reflexology methods. It's not just one reflexology method. In 2000, I went to Hawaii to the International Council of Reflexology conference, which connects with reflexology around the globe every 2 years. And the keynote speaker was Father Joseph from Taiwan. Although he's a Swiss priest, he's a missionary who spent by now 30 years living in Taiwan and preaching as a member of Bethlehem Society in Taiwan. He was keynote speaker in Hawaii, and he brought up the notion that reflexology need not be only relaxing, as I was taught in New York City, but it can be, he used the word curing. We can cure the diseases. It can be therapeutic model, and he introduced that concept to me, and I was very interested because before I was applying it as a relaxation technique, and it's fabulous as a relaxation, but come to the point and understanding that reflexology as a modality, so easy to apply, not that difficult to learn, can help and complement the Western approach without any side effects in the knowledgeable hands of the practitioner was very interesting to me, very attractive to me. So I approached Father Joseph and I said, I would love to study with you because that approach was not that well known in the United States for the legal reason. Only medical doctors with the degrees can treat the diseases. And he was kind enough to let me come to Taiwan and to study with him. I was first American, first foreigner actually, to go and spend 3 weeks with him to study hands-on the real tradition from master to student. And for 3 weeks I spent in his village because he's a missionary. He lives in a very poor part of Taiwan, northeastern Taiwan. And so I lived in the village and I saw how he practices it. For him, it's an avocation. His full-time job is a priest to the parishioners in 5 villages that he attends on his bike, little bike. So I studied the method hands-on. I have the pictures I actually brought with me. And I came back to the States, start to apply what I knew because the method was a little different from what I learned. I learned Eunice Ingham method of reflexology through International Institute of Reflexology, and I started to see different results, quite impressive results.
In his method?
Yes,
But
using that method.
The main healing thing is that you're touching the different spots on the foot for people who aren't that familiar with
what reflexology is.
Yeah.
So reflexes are the spots on the feet. It's not a definition of reflexology, but just to be basic. Spots on the feet, hands, and ears that correspond with vital organ parts and glands of the body. And by properly stimulating or manipulating those spots we call reflexes, we elicit the body response and corresponding organs. That's why they reflex. It reflectively causes the changes in corresponding organs, not in the feet, that bring body back to balance.
So if you touch
Gallbladder, for example, it's easy to say the gallbladder in great distress when gallbladder is overflowing with gallstones. And there are known case stories when properly working on a gallbladder, we can release the discomfort of the gallstones. For example, I saved my dear friend gallbladder by working on him, and we prevented the gallbladder removal, which was the first advice at the Stanford Hospital by the physician. your gallbladder is so inflamed, it needs to be removed. I said, can you give him a couple days and
Wow.
don't send him to the surgery right away? And I worked on him, and when the pain subsided and he then went to his physician, developed the plan of stop eating the pins of ice cream at the time and kind of slow down, he recovered. He still has his gallbladder and he's 87.
That's fantastic. Well,
So
that's
anecdotal evidence.
I see from your website that you have also nutrition advice. So kind of when you see someone in a lifestyle imbalance.
Yeah, the
then
study of nutrition came later. Is from 1990s, functional medicine entered the scene due to Jeffrey Bland, medical doctor, introducing the concept that we need to look at the healthcare, not disease care, from a different perspective and look at the cause of the disease rather than treating the symptoms. Functional medicine came in and we determined that almost always underlying cause of majority of diseases, I'm not talking about acute traumas, caused by gastrointestinal imbalance. Digestion would be number one, and microbiome is a fancy word right now. 4 pounds of the bacterium that we host in our body, in our digestive system, determines the course of our health, healthy living or unhealthy living. So here came nutrition. I realized no matter how good I am as a practitioner of reflexology, if I don't bring the nutrition into the picture, if I don't address the lifestyle, which nutrition is the big part of it, I won't be as effective as I want to be. And I do really want to be effective. I'd love to be in the model of preventive care, predictive, preventive, personalized,
rather
because
than
I work
waiting
one-on-one. That's the
rather
nutrition
than waiting
came
for
in.
a crisis to happen where it's very
Exactly.
expensive and
Exactly.
difficult.
And I don't deal with crisis situation. I don't want to deal with crisis situation. In my practice, I invite people to come to me as a preventive.
Well, it starts as I did a reflexology session with someone, and I thought it's one of the most relaxing, wonderful things. So if a person starts out with that goal, and then they find out that they can slowly more about themselves and what they need to sort of be in better balance, it sounds like a wonderful thing.
Yes, it's a privilege to be a reflexology practitioner in today's world when human touch is so rare. People know how to touch buttons much more or screens than touch each other, unfortunately. So when I have a client in my chair, reflexology chair, and I have either 90 minutes or 60 minutes, and it's uninterrupted human touch through the feet, it's very intimate, and that touch and that modality allows me to see what's happening with the whole body while allowing the client, the person in my chair, to release, relax, and share the emotional, sometimes strong emotions that need to come out, share the emotional burden.
So the emotions can get stuck in the body too.
It's called psychosomatic effect. Emotions get stuck in the body, and what's the best way to release and relieve it in the company of the person who is solely caring about you at that moment, who is not rushing, does not have a long line in the waiting room.
True, yeah.
In a very
People need
sacred
that.
space. I don't know anyone who wouldn't welcome it. And there are a lot of people who don't feel comfortable being touched in the feet, and I invite the viewers of your program, give it a try. It's really rewarding, and it's never late, and there is no restriction in the age.
Are there any contradictions for somebody with any conditions that it wouldn't be good for? Just have to ask that.
In my view, the only contradiction would be infectious disease of the skin on the feet. I wouldn't want to work on open wound.
Right.
Or infected, although athlete's feet I can work around. I comfortably work on pregnant women. Some practitioners don't. I do, and I have a good experience with that.
I did see on your website about something about infertility reflexology or working with that.
it's a big topic now, especially in this area. Somehow, I don't know why did it happen. It wasn't like in my times that getting pregnant became such a hard task for young women. So infertility issues come over quite often by educated women that said, I want to give it a try before I'll go into IVF, in vitro fertilization. Before I would go the drug route, I want to give it a try. And usually they come to reflexology versus acupuncture because acupuncture is proven to be effective, but quite a few people are apprehensive about needles.
Yes.
Need not to be.
Yeah.
It's very effective, but reflexology does the same thing based on the same traditional Chinese medicine theories that been around for over 2,500 years, actually more than 2,500 years.
And it's not just the feet. You do the ear. Do you do the hands as well?
Hands and ears are an addition, but majority of my work I do on the feet. I teach people how they can work on their hands, and I can easily show if we'll believe in the theory that our body is reflected on our feet, in hands and ears. So if we put the hands together like that, this would be our head and neck, and our left part of the body will be on the left hand, the right on the right hand, and we can easily stimulate or sedate, the two terms, different parts of the hand. We don't even need to know what's it connected to. It's just go with what feels good.
Well, one thing, we're getting shorter on time. The other thing, you do Reiki, and you have I'm curious about the infrared.
Infrared table.
Yes. I've read a little bit about that, and it's, can you talk a little bit about that quickly?
Right. I'll be happy to show the pictures. I have an infrared table. There are domes on top of the big massage table where my clients can lie and experience the heat or energy waves from the domes that emit infrared light while I'm doing reflexology. So you kind of have reflexology, Reiki, and infrared treatment in one. It's complementary to each other.
And one of the things I would imagine, and you did a little demonstration before with my daughter, that in your intimate feeling their feet and discussing things with them, that a person can discover a closer connection with their own body, because I think people just forget about their body a lot and all the rushing around.
I'm so glad you brought it up because it's such a fun thing. What I feel in the feet, you would feel in the chair. And very often people tell me, oh, I feel this surge that goes through my body, even though I'm working on the feet. If I can